I guess my salvation it starts out with me. It's almost like a cliche, but I was lost and I was seeking and I was looking and I wasn't finding and I wasn't listening and although God was speaking to me, I didn't know it. I didn't know how to identify it. And those things now I know were important, but more than that is the trust that I could listen to my heart, the trust that I could hear Him talking to me, and the trust that I could listen to Him speaking to me. And many things happened in my past that led Him into my life and led Him to try to talk to me and try to bring me to my salvation and trust in Him. But I didn't know how to hear it. I didn't know how to listen to it. And it's kind of ironic because I'm in sales. So I'm supposed to be a good listener. And the most important times, I wasn't doing my job. So through a chain of events, I was fortunate to meet a couple people that made a difference. And they acted in the way I guess God would expect children of His to act, servants of His to bring about somebody else into His life. One of them is my wife, Tammy, and I met her, and she introduced me to Christian religion, really got me into church, going to church. But that's great, and she's doing a great job, except it wasn't into my heart. It wasn't getting into my heart, and I wasn't really listening to God when He was saying, these are specific things that you need to be paying attention to, and this is how you're saved, and this is how you come into being saved. And that wasn't in my heart. That wasn't happening. And I realized that when I met one of the dearest people I've ever known, and that's Charles. And I was sitting in his office one day, and we were talking, and I was under duress, going through some hard times, and about my father, and I had seeked him out, and of course now I realize this is God working, but at that moment I didn't realize it, that was Him putting Charles and me together. So I was able to identify and listen to Him, and that's God speaking. And He said to me, He said, I guess, I'm going to make this as clear as I can. It's going to be just like daylight shining in your eyes. I'm going to be speaking to you, and you need to listen. And that's the moment when it started clicking. And I started to put my trust in God. And Charles said that, is your dad know he's saved? Is your dad saved? Is he going to heaven? And I said, I hope so. I think so. I didn't know for sure. And then he asked me, are you saved? Are you going to heaven? And I thought, well, I think so. I hope so. And he said, well, you need to put your trust in the Lord. Do you know how to put your trust in the Lord? Have you done that? And I said, well, I'll think about it and I'll work on it. And he said, that's not good enough. He said, you're getting on a plane and flying to California, and what if something happened, and that something happened, something terrible happened to you? That's what you want? And at that moment, it was as clear as anything could be. It was as clear as me knowing that I was in love with my wife, that at that moment that I needed to proclaim my trust in the Lord. I needed to put my trust, and I was no longer lost, and I was no longer seeking, and I was putting my trust in God, and I knew that Jesus had made that ultimate sacrifice for all of us, for me, and that I trust in Him now, that He's going to take care of me. I no longer have to struggle, that I can trust in Him and put that in Him. And so at that moment when I proclaimed that, everything started to become clear, and I'm being discipled, and I'm learning more, and I'm getting closer and closer to really where I need to be. So everything added up. All these things that have happened to me in my life, they're all for this reason. They're all that reason is that I can serve God the way that I'm intended to, the way that He made me to serve God. And that the most important thing is that it's not about me. It's about Him. And I realize that now, and I try to live that it's not about me, it's about Him, and everything that I do is because of Him. And I have to give the glory in Him. And so hopefully those that see this video can be inspired like I'm inspired. And I thank you for allowing me to share that.